guys, we're here with Sammy from Sammy's Muay Thai. He's coming off of a victory. His last fight. How did you win that?
It was a KO in the fourth round. It was a pretty crazy one. They flew the guy out. We went to war a little bit. Figured out he wasn't on the leg block for the first round, so then if it wasn't broken, we were gonna try to fix it.
So you just chop him out to the leg until he fell. Man, that's a brutal way to KO somebody.
Well, I probably could have got the stoppage there. Later on, I got clipped in the fourth round. I got dropped, put on my face, and then after that, I got up, and then I got the KO. His wind up his shoulder arm coming out of the socket, and just the whole thing. But yeah, it was a good fight. There was a lot of people there, so it was kind of cool to represent Houston and Houston. So
Yeah, I know that's pretty awesome. I have a little bit of a background in martial arts too. I've been training since I was a little kid, not to your level of seriousness. I'm primarily a musician. I just play music, but martial arts have been a hobby of mine for a long time.
Yeah, they're very hand in hand, very hand in hand. You don't realize that a lot either. We can get into that a little bit today too.
For sure, yeah. So what are some things like, somebody coming off the street, like Eva's off camera, but let's say Eva's coming in, what are some things that you have heard people tell, like why they don't train or
well, there's certain things, obviously, there's a financial aspect of things, but I'll be 100% honest. Whether you're playing music or you're playing, or you're doing martial art, okay? Everyone sits there and say, "Oh, I don't got the money for it." Okay, but you go to Starbucks every day. Okay, if you go to Starbucks every day and you take that freaking $10 a day, you will pay for your private lessons. You will pay for that. But what people don't want to do is they don't really think about it this way. Anytime you spend little money like that, you need to invest in yourself. That is it. Okay, can you go home and make that cup of coffee opposed to maybe saving it and then now you can pay for a lesson in music, or you can pay for a lesson in a gym, or get a membership somewhere to do what better myself. And then a lot of people, they say, I don't want to start either two things, and this is martial arts and music. Man, I'm too old, I have to be sick. No, you're not, because if you can still move your fingers and move your hands and do things, then you should do something to help your brain grow.
That's right.
So if you've ever had I kind of want to play, I want to play drum, I want to play, or I wanted to compete, or I wanted to get anytime that's ever crossed your mind, you can't just let that go away, because until you die, you're going to say that. So you might as well try to invest in yourself. And if you're investing in something, you grow a relationship with the people that you're around and the people that you're taking lessons from, and you want to invest in them, which is their time for your money. You know what I mean? But if you want to be cool, just blow that on the corner store. Like people say they don't have the money for it, but you get up in the morning, you go stop and grab coffee, and then you grabbed a little something before you went to work. Then you went and had lunch, and then you went and ate dinner, and you didn't cook for yourself or do things. You're staring at freaking your first 3 hours out of the day. You just paid for what you ate. That's it. You could have did it yourself, and then maybe invested in yourself and been able to go have a little more enjoyment instead of just sitting in front of the TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think another thing, at least on the music side, tell me if it's the same thing for you. People think about the time that it takes. Like how long is it gonna take me to get good at this thing? And that tends to hold them back. And somebody, I forget who it was, I think it was Hickson Gracie told that to one of his students. It's like the time will pass anyway.
Yeah.
So would you rather be, in 10 years, would you rather be a black belt in 10 years? Or do you just want to continue to be wishing to wear a black belt in 10 years from now?
So my thing on that is everyone is like that mentality in the States is they want it now.
Mm.
I don't get good at guitar now. I don't get good at drums now. I don't get good at piano now. These are arts that take lifetimes sometimes. But like I said, if you take away from your phone for a second, stop scrolling for a second, pick up your guitar. You know what I mean? You're only investing in yourself. You're only helping your brain grow. Martial arts, for instance, you come in, it doesn't really matter the age you start. Now, it will depend on the gym you go to. Some are more towards kids, some are a little more towards fighters and different gyms. You're going to find that like mediocre. And I say it's just like music. You got to go find the right coaches, the right people around you so that you vibe together. Because when you everyone's got a job they don't like, they got family stuff going on, they got money problems, everyone's got stuff going on. What can you do to take yourself out of that situation for an hour out of the day? You will be surprised at what that'll do for you. So you either invest in yourself in the long term, maybe so that even you can invest into other people. Like I teach guys how to freaking fight, do things here, and they freaking do privates and do other things here. as well. So, you invest your time in the martial arts, music, different things. You might run across a kid one day that doesn't have the money to do it or whatever, but you kind of have the love and the compassion behind it to be able to teach them a couple little here and there. And it really just helps the sport, helps music grow. You know what I mean? No one just picks up the guitar. You will have guys that are a little bit better, but if you invest your time into anything, it'll come. And I get two types of people that learn, and it's the same thing for music, I think, is one of the things where you have the guys that come out the gates and they're free. Okay, they're picking it up really good. That's natural. But then they list on their naturalness, and they can only go so far there.
Yes.
They have to have someone in front of them tell them how far to go, what to do, step back, those things.
So let me tell you with music how that works. So you got the beginners, right? They have really good aptitude. On guitar is what I teach, so that's what I can speak on. And they get really good. They blast through the fundamentals, and they're just picking it up. Eventually, you hit that wall, and you are not going to progress unless you start putting in the work. And those are the guys that, if they're self-taught and they don't have that discipline to continue pushing, they'll continue playing. They learn for 2 years. Now they've been playing for 20, 30 years, and they sound like a guy that's been playing for 2 years. Because they didn't continue to push.
Yep.
And that's where sometimes an instructor is, or a coach is useful. Do you have the same thing happening in like?
Yeah, 100%.
The fighting world?
And we have a guy that I play football, comes in, he can punch anyone hard as crap and get away with that. But when you start running into that exact same person, but then they got the IQ up top, that's where they get screwed up. So a lot of times, I have two types, and as a good coach for musician and for martial arts, you have to see how this person, you can't just teach a rhythm like this. You got to know, okay, this guy is actually smarter, but he's not as capable in his body. So that means we got to get his body up. This guy is smarter, or he's more capable in his body, but his mind's not there. So I got to slow him back a little bit. So you have to find those ways, and that's one thing good about finding a gym, finding a musician place to be able to allow you to get to those places. Now, I didn't really break down on my background a little bit. I played music most of my life. So I was, I think I was 10 or 12 when I started playing music. I started playing in metal bands and stuff. And by the time I was 12, 13.
What do you play?
I play guitar.
Guitar.
Played a little bit of percussion, did vocals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I played all the way up till I started fighting, really. And it's just, the thing is about fighting is it takes so much of your time. When you do music, when you're playing in bands and stuff, it's so much of your time. And a lot of people are like, man, I'm trying to make this money. If the money ever comes, great. More than likely, that's how people starts. Probably not once. Okay? It's like anything else, man. You gotta enjoy it, love the culture, the people you're around, and then everything else comes. If you don't do that, and you're just looking at the benefit at the end, you'll miss everything in between. The journey in between is where everyone these days really misses. That's gotta get you to that point.
Yeah, I'm kind of laughing because the two things that you picked, right? They're basically both of them are vows of poverty. Like both fighting or music. Both you're just saying I'm gonna be poor because I'm choosing passion over money.
Yep. And for me, it's really interesting how playing shows and fighting is the same thing, because you spend endless times practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Endless times putting your everything in front of that, everything, and then you go fight and you get that big high, that big from the stage and whatever, and then you go to what? You go right back to the same person, and then it's the exact same concept. Tickets are being sold. It's not a matter of being the best fighter or the best band in the world, but can you put freaking people's seats in the seats? You know what I mean? Do people want to come watch you? You know what I mean? Are you entertaining? Those are all in the same aspect. So it's from my aspect and yours, coming from jiu-jitsu background, you kind of know it's very similar. And it's an art. They're both arts, and they both run very hand-in-hand. Mark Beecher from Hyena Muay Thai plays bass to this day, played in metal bands, did all that stuff. It's very you have to sit down, dial that stuff in. And I'll be 100% honest. I think the difference between a millionaire and a person that really wants something is and a drug addict is really the fact of which branch should they take. Because if you really want to go out to somebody and go after something, the problem with people though is they don't want to wholeheartedly do something, or they don't get the result they want, so they give up. You know what I mean? When your head's laying flat on the mat, just like mine was this last weekend, I either get up and let this guy run over me, or I bite my mouth guard and start swinging on this guy and put him on his back foot. And luckily, I got the KO. So it just depends on, like I said, the type of person, how bad you want it.
I want to do a little bit. Where your school, you got an awesome facility. It's always full. I teach next door, and I see like the school is always full of people. So I'm sure you have a lot of coaching inside. How important? Well, actually, it's a two-pronged question. So, what do you think makes a good coach in this environment, right? In a fighting environment? And the other side of it is, how do you keep from getting the? Have you heard of the expert syndrome? When you believe that the student knows what you know because you know it.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you keep that off of you? How do you stay sharp that way as a coach? And what do you think makes a good coach in a fighting environment?
I'll be 100% honest. You can come in and you can look at my students, and I've had this happen numerous times. Guys come in. This isn't always a thing, but they'll come in and they're standing in the room trying to figure out who the coach is, and they're looking right past me. They're looking right. And I'm like, hey, you need some help? And then I'm like, hey, I'm Sammy, blah blah. I don't put myself on a pedestal. To be honest with you. I'm the same person in the gym, the same person you're at 102, the same person that's with my kids, the same person. And so for my what I'm getting at is I'm constantly trying to grow. Okay, so if I'm 20 years into what I'm doing and I'm trying to grow, my guys aren't going to outgrow me. You know what I mean? Now they might come to a time where they're in better shape than me at certain times, which they usually are. But you have to, as a good coach, you got to understand, and a coach that loves what he does. That's a whole nother thing too, because we have to remind ourselves as coaches that we love what we do, and we're blessed to be able to do what we do. So to put in that time, that effort, and it's cool to see them to see them grow. You know what I mean? But as me personally, I think the difference between a good coach and a coach that is just a regular off coach is growing. Practice yourself. Being there grinding, whether it's playing music, finding new rhythms, doing different whatevers, like doing those little. Because if you get in a rut, anything in life, you get in a rut, you're not gonna do what you want to do.
You get bored.
Yep, and I've met a lot of coaches. I'll be 100% honest. I don't, not so much in the music world, but I know in the martial art world. I know personally is that a lot of coaches are lazy. And the difference of people who come from my gym is because I'm energized. I'm not faking anything. Like, I love the fact that somebody wants to come in and learn in the store. I'm excited about teaching them if they want to learn. Now, the one thing I will get is a guy come in and say, yeah, I know. I'm like, well, if you know, why are you here? I don't mean to be a jerk, but I'm here to learn too as well. And I'll be honest, even this last fight, this was my 65th fight, okay? And guys said I was the best man I ever been. So if I'm still growing, I'm 39 years old, I shouldn't even really be there doing it. Why do I do it? No clue. I'll get back to you. Okay? But the enjoyment of just being here and enjoy it. But like I said, being a coach, I feel like the difference between a good coach and a bad coach is just caring in general and loving what you do. You know what I mean?
No, I feel that. I feel the growing aspect of it, because for me, it's also that way too with music. Like in jiu-jitsu, I'm teaching classes in jiu-jitsu, and I tell my students, a lot of what you said resonates with me, because it's like, I tell them, like, I'm just another guy, just like you guys. The only reason why my belt is different because I've been doing it longer.
Yep.
That's it. But I'm still learning. I'm still adjusting my technique. I'm still, even like white belt level techniques. I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh man, there's a detail that I little tweaks that you make, and you make your technique better. And sometimes just moving with people, you realize stuff and you're like, oh man, this is cool. And that's you stay excited. Same thing with music. I've been playing guitar and actively learning for over 30 years, which is crazy because I'm not that old. But even then, like, I'm still finding concepts and things, musical concepts and things to do, and then I'm watching like what the kids are doing, and people like Brandy or Dave, he gets in the deep dive on the technical stuff. There are things that they're doing now that we didn't used to do back in the 80s and 90s, in the early 2000s. There's all these new techniques. So I'm like, oh man, okay, I gotta get in some of that. I pick up other instruments like banjo, mandolin, where I'm not that great at those instruments. But
It's cool to grow the brain though.
yeah, you practice, man. Your technique gets better, and then you bring some of that stuff to the guitar, and it makes it better.
It's just like for me, for instance, I done Muay Thai. So a lot of guys are like, "Oh, what other martial arts to do?" Because I don't have a very, like traditional Muay Thai. And the only reason why is because I fought a lot of stateside. It's nothing against traditional Muay Thai and how things are, but here in Texas they box a lot. So I got a pretty good boxing there. I like to elbow. I like to do certain things. What frame style am I? What can I do? I need to stay longer. What do I need to do to win this fight, basically? So for me, I try to cover every aspect of it. You know, the clinch aspect, the punches, the kicks, the all those things, so that if I do get into a place and it's a rough spot, I'm like, oh, but that was my bread and butter, but he's better than me at that. So I gotta have other things to put down a lid on this guy. You know what I mean? As far as like, I personally think anyone at any time should always. My daughter takes guitar at, I want to say close to a year now, okay, close to it, with Dave or True Place. And then my son takes drums with Ava, and to me it's awesome. And I'll be 100% honest, that I just bought my son, his birthday was yesterday, and my daughter's birthday was the 27th, but son was the 28th. And I got them some musical stuff from school, so I'm excited about it, because it's stuff I didn't have when I was younger. And like, now it's cool because my son has his own little amp and he's not using mine, so now it's cool. My son's 7 and I can like play guitar and jam with him. To me, that is cool as crap, bro.
So
like,
cool, yeah.
to be able to jam with your kid, like, to me, this is awesome. Same aspect as like parents, you know, like they are like, oh, my son's doing this, well, you know, do it with them.
Yeah.
You only live once. Like, it's cool to be able to be a part of something. So if your kids are playing guitar and it's something you've always wanted to do, don't live vicariously through them. Freaking play guitar with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or freaking play something that you can work together on, you know what I mean?
Go on train, and then hold pass in the garage.
Yeah, exactly, bro. When you can put the two and two together, I do believe this in my life in general. Preach the gospel at all costs, and sometimes use words. What I mean by that is I'm not going to tell you to do something. I'm going to do it by my actions. You're going to watch me do those things, and then you're going to be curious and you're going to listen for yourself. So to me, that's what I like to be as far as a leader, a dad, a musician, a martial artist. Like those types of things together.
I couldn't get my family to do martial arts with me, but to do music with me. But my daughter, my wife, and my daughter both have trained martial arts with me. My wife, she trains regularly with me. My daughter has done it here and there.
Yeah.
And then when I'm like, hey, you want to come regularly? No, I don't want to.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Yeah, I mean, there's days that my son's had 2 fights. My daughter's had 3. And I tell him, you can do anything you want, okay? But if you're good to do something, it's wholeheartedly. Yeah. My son, for whatever reason, and he's not one of those kids that wants to like jump out like and do all kinds of. He even barely said anything about him doing the little show with you guys.
Recital, yeah.
And he was like, he walked up, put his name on. I was like, oh, that's good. But if you put your name on there, you're doing it now.
Yeah.
So now as a dad, I had to go out of my way to make sure, like, and try to see some of these things. And my thing is like creating consistency. So my son knows he has a lesson every week. You know what I mean? Could he practice more? 100%. Okay. But he likes going to do his lesson. I don't want to burn him out of what he's doing. But the fact that he has such a he's ahead of the game. You know, when he just turned 7, he can already like play a little bit and do stuff. He's ahead of the game. If he just keeps that consistency up for the next 4 or 5 years, and then winds up falling in love with it like all the way, then it's gonna be, you know, you won't be able to hold the kid back. You know?
I didn't even start until I was 14, 15. I mean, I wanted to play guitar since I was 12, and I was begging, and they wouldn't get me a guitar because they didn't want me to play rock. My parents didn't want me to play rock guitar at all. They didn't want me to play rock music. And finally, at 14, they were like, all right, we'll get you a classical guitar, and you're learning classical music in the conservatory. And I was like, all right, that's fine, I'll play guitar. Yeah. So I enrolled in the conservatory, started learning classical guitar. And I was teaching myself rock guitar, so when I was learning chords, I was like, okay, how does this work with this?
Yeah. That's part of like falling in love with it. Like, you're gonna. I mean, if everyone played the exact same style, then nothing would be cool. Like, you gotta make your own little style, or you fall in love with this type of person's whatever, and you kind of make your own a little bit. and then kind of go from there. So I don't. I love the aspect of just like martial arts in general, music. Like I feel like those are just all things that everyone can do if they really want to. Don't get me wrong. Some guys with 2 left feet, 2 left hands. Don't get me wrong. But you can if you want. Their mind has to grow in a different way. You know what I mean? And everyone, I don't care who you are, everyone at one point or another has been like, I want to play guitar. I want to play drums. I don't care who you are. Throw a piano in there too. At one point or another, they would have won. But did they want to invest in themselves? Were they in a place where their parents could invest in themselves? Like, oh, I didn't start martial arts until I was 19. Why? Because I grew up really poor and we didn't have the money to do it. When I got to an age where I could afford it, well, couldn't really afford it, but made it happen. Okay, and I wanted to invest in myself. Now I feed my family. That's what I do. That's not always the case in situations, but I followed my love, and I worked a job I did not like for a very long time, for 15 years. Why? So I could support the things I wanted to do. And now I feed my family doing this. Both of my kids compete. I compete. Like my wife works full time here now. We have over 300 plus members. Like it's a good life to live. And did I know I was going to get here? No, I enjoyed the journey to get here.
Yeah.
Just like you and your black belt playing guitar for a long time. You almost have your head in the trenches,
Yeah.
and then you kind of look up and you're like, man, how did I get here?
Well, it was the same thing for me. I didn't start owning a music school. I came here as an immigrant, so
Yeah.
like I didn't have anything. I started from zero, and I worked different jobs and everything else. And I eventually met Paul. He's the guy who used to own the place that I now own, and I was basically working music retail for him. He did a good job. Slowly climbed up until I was managing his operations. Did that for a very long time. And he got to the point where Paul wanted to get out of that business. We worked something out, and then here we are. You know.
Yep, yep.
And then the same thing. It was like a 15-year process, longer actually, because I came here in 2002, and I didn't take the place over until 2017.
A lot of guys come in to me and they're like, they come in and they're like, they just signed up, and they're like, when can I fight? Like, you should probably come to sparring one time and see how much you can't defend yourself. I'm gonna put this 14-year-old girl on you and make you feel like you're this big.
So I remember I was younger. I was training under Professor James Petrie, and it was an MMA school, Team 2 Spring, which doesn't exist anymore. And so he had MMA classes. So and I was there, and then I was part of the camps and everything. One time he put me aside, and he was like, George, there's 2 kinds of fighters. You're either quick or you're tough. You're gonna have to be tough.
Yeah. Hey, that's part of being a good coach. You gotta break it down. Hey, bro, you ain't this dude. This is your option you got, homie. Weather the storm. Yeah, 100%. I get that. Yeah, like I said, I really do think people should pick up one or the other, or even both. Maybe challenge themselves and like another place to be able to grow.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity. The one thing I love is we're right next to these guys, and if you ever are here training, you ever want to go there and question them, you can even ask me questions. I can give you my personal reference of just being there. The coaches have all been amazing as far as helping my kids grow. And like I said, if you want to invest in yourself, you can figure it out. You can. Sure. We all spend money on things that we don't need. And if it's just a matter of investing in your kids, investing your time, everything costs you time and money. It's whether you want to let one of those go or not. You know what I mean?
And actually, to me, it's always been a dual path. I started doing martial arts when I was 8, and I discovered music when I was 12. And then, since I started learning guitar, it was both things. It was like I had the 2 paths. It's like if you want to get cheesy and look at like the Japanese philosophy and all that stuff, you had like a dual path of the pen and the sword, right?
Yep.
Or the warrior poet, whatever you want to call it. It was like that. It was like I'm developing as a musician, and I'm also developing as a martial artist. And then I just kind of lean heavier to one side, the side of music.
Yep.
But martial arts has always been a big part of who I am in my life.
Yeah, that's good, man. Like I said, you don't realize how much it does affect you outside of the gym, outside of playing music, and like how it actually even a lot of people like they talk about their kids not having like their chest high, or having being just prepared for the world and stuff. Man, you got to give them tools. No one can work unless you have tools.
For sure.
If you don't, and your kids, you don't freaking program like good work ethics, different things, like, if they want to succeed in anything in life, if they want to, like I said, I was talking about earlier with my kids, when they signed up to fight, at that moment, I sit there and I would run around with them. You probably saw us doing laps and stuff. And I told my kids, I said, if you're going to compete, you sign that paper. You're in this. There is no, I'm going to quit, I'm going to whatever. No, you're in it. And we're not knitting sweaters, so you could get hurt, okay? If you're going to play music, the worst thing ever is to freaking finish a set and they're just staring at you. You know what I mean? Like, when people screaming and hollering and whatever, like, that is the highest highs, the lowest lows.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. And I'll be honest, I'm not talking about any type of whatever. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do anything. And I will tell you why, okay? Friday I fought. Sunday night is when I went to sleep. I got that much off of just competing. I can't even sleep, can't do anything, you know what I mean? And I've always kind of been that way, so like I don't put myself in situations where I could do something that would either not help me benefit my life, you know what I mean? So to me, I say invest in yourself. And I will say that over and over and over, and I will program guys as much as I possibly can. Invest in yourself. Okay?
Well, and having the discipline to not be good at something and just keep showing up and keep learning and keep developing, be it music or martial arts. If you start doing that from the time you're a kid, then you have that same work ethic outside of the gym, outside of the academy. You go out and if you're starting a job, okay, well, I'm starting from the bottom. That's fine. If I work hard enough, I'm gonna climb up.
Yeah.
And that is the reality everywhere. If you start in a new organization, like me as a business owner, if you come into work for me and I see that you're doing extra, I mean, it's in my best interest to make sure you don't leave.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to pay you more. I'm going to give you more responsibility. Yeah. So now you're a part of my organization.
Yes.
And that is everywhere is like that.
It should be. I mean, I don't have much of education. I literally not that I sit there. If you asked me 5 years ago, okay, we've been open for 4.5. If you asked me 5 years ago if I was going to open my own gym, I would have told you no. I literally worked my job, so I paid my bills, and then I did more time because I loved it, and that was it. There was no in between. I was not even trying to it just one day freaking wound up happening, and now we're where we are today. We're trying to keep it that way. But it's one of those where if you freaking hit anything, I tell everyone else, okay, consistency beats everything. Okay, if you just know, hey, I'm getting off work, I'm gonna go home and I'm spending 30 minutes playing the instrument, just 30 minutes. Whether it's the best thing program people applies to, it's really good for my son, is play the song that you're winning, and you can just, same thing for training. If you're drilling certain things, we think it's gonna come out in your fight. You know, it's the exact same thing. The last we sold, I didn't realize this, but we sold over $25,000 of tickets for fights. Okay, when we went there, a lot of guys have seen me fight. Like I said, a lot. They have not fought in 3 years, I think. Okay, but for our students, how it is now, when they watch me fight, they literally it's literally everything that I teach all the time. And I teach from two aspects. I've either hit you with it, or I've been hit with it, but I do know they both work. Okay, from that aspect. But it was cool for my students to be able to kind of see that, you know what I mean? So it's cool to be able to open up opportunities and doors, like we're gonna do this little showcases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Get their little feelings out of there, freaking get in there and freaking because a lot of places don't do that.
Well, that's why we started doing it, because back when you and I were growing up, the garage band thing. I'm 44. So you're
right behind you.
Yeah,
right behind you.
Yeah, we're right there. So you'd have the garage band thing. You get together with your friends, right? They come over to your house and you just make noise.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So people don't get together anymore. They don't play together anymore. So what do they have? They have YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. So there's no real way for the kids that are playing to come out and actually play. So okay, well how do we? manufacture that for the kids. So then the recitals started happening. And then when Eva and David and I, we all get together because I work with people who I like. So we also hang out outside of work.
Yeah.
So we go and
for our coaches
yeah,
too as well.
we get together and we always play music together, and it's so fun. And it's like, okay, well, how do we bring that up to our adult students? We started doing the adult jam. So then now the adult students get together and they jam.
Yep.
You know, if they want to bring a little beer, that's fine. They can have one beer as long as nobody gets, sloshed.
Yeah.
But I get that some people need a little liquid courage to
to get going.
to get going. So that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
They come in and they play and everybody has a good time. You know? That's really why we started doing all this. I call it community building. All this community building stuff. We don't charge for it. We're doing it because we want the students to get the full experience. I was telling, because I was talking to this lady that's going to do our social media stuff, and she asked me, what's your mission? And I'm like, well, I'm not trying to get clients. I'm trying to build musicians. Because that's my thing. It's never been about the money. You need money to get the place open.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah, but it's not about that. It's about I'm trying to build musicians. I want people to experience what I experienced coming up with music.
And I feel like honestly, if you've never experienced like something like that, or you've never experienced training or doing things, it's very hand in hand. So if you've played a show where people screaming and hollering, most people never know what that's felt like. And that is, you might play on a football team or a soccer team or do something, and people cheer, and there's freaking however many on a team, whatever. It's not the same. It's not. Whenever you're freaking in the ring, the reason why there's not tons of bands that make it do things because it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. You know what I mean? You might make some little TikToks or some little whatever, but like to play in front of people, you're at the mercy of the sound guy. You're at the mercy of your battery that you forgot to put. You didn't change your strings because you didn't have enough money to freaking change strings. So you're like, I can make one more show and then rip that sucker, and then you didn't have a backup guitar. Yeah. So like, there's all those little things that I've definitely been. That's like, should I? I can't afford it, but I'm gonna change these strings, or I'm gonna have no guitar set next to me, or even ask head of the game stuff is. The band just played, like, hey man, you have that sitting to the side because this bad boy's about to go. For fighting, man, like I said, I tell them, if it was easy, everyone would do it. You know what I mean? Everyone wants everything really quickly, and my thing as a coach, I would never want to put you in a place where you question yourself. And that's the one thing about game. I'm not a good teacher in sports or being a musician. Is you never want to put someone out there and they're not ready yet. You know what I mean? Like, you get a bad, disgusting feeling inside of you. Like, but when you have people that care about you, they're teaching you, they're going to try to take you to that place. No, it's a fine line. You're never going to be 100% prepared. And then you don't know what happens until you get out there under the pressure. I think guys all day long, they're freaking amazing in the gym. They get on the ring, fall apart. Mm-hmm. I know plenty of my training partners growing up that were like, they would tune anyone up in here. You put them in the ring, just fall apart. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing for you. Might get a guy like a shred, and you put him out in front of the stage in front of him, nerves get him so bad his fingers just tighten up. So but that's part of doing those little things. We do some in-house stuff too, like you were just talking about. We do some in-house stuff to do what? We don't make money off of it either. We do it to prepare our guys. And like give them that little taste that somebody wanted for later on. Then start seeing the bigger picture overall and give themselves goals to kind of work to.
Well, and you get used to that. I don't know if I'm sure it's the same about fighting too, but if you're doing a recital or you're doing a little jam or something like that, you're in a friendly environment, but you're still getting that nervousness of like, man, like people are watching. I'm on stage by myself, people are watching me, or like I'm on stage with this other guy, and I have to match, and people will know if I screw up. You have all those, that little mental stuff, or like the kids that get out there and they're just playing with a track. Man, the only thing that can go wrong is me making a mistake. It's pretty scary, you know? And then you get used to it, you get comfortable with it, and then if you decide to go around and play shows with a band, you're a little bit more ready when you get on stage. Because you don't get hurt physically playing music. At least I've never happened hurt.
Your heart.
When your feelings will get hurt.
No, 100%. It's funny how it is hand in hand. That was the reason why you can say that was like my son, just that little kid with you guys. And he came off the stage like all super excited, pumped, and didn't have a hard time getting him up there. Did it, came off, and he was like, the first thing he started talking about was, next time I do it, I'm gonna do another one. And then he was like, and literally shortly right after he said that, an MDL is like a non-sanctioned fight basically. It's a learning curve kind of like that.
Yeah.
No winner or losers. They get to like go in there and just kind of like learn how to move and allow each other to kind of just like that. You're testing the waters.
Yeah.
And he's like, straight off of that, I'm gonna do one of those when the next one comes up, and then when the next MDL, he's like, I'm gonna go back and forth between the two. And I was like, all right, cool.
He's fine now.
Yeah, he's excited about doing both, so it was kind of cool. And then I took my son to a pool yesterday and didn't want to get his head wet. And I was like, maybe I've invested too much in these other things. Maybe we need to throw him in the tub a little more.
Yeah. That's how you help them grow.
Yeah, for sure. But I appreciate you guys coming out and
Yeah,
chatting
man.
with us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. That was awesome.
Like I said, if you're ever, if anyone's ever just doubted or want to do anything, you can hit up Firehouse. You can reach out to either them for us for them. It doesn't the same as one time.
Yeah.
We can help you both ways. We're right here with each other. So, like I said, if you've ever had a question that in your mind,
Do both at the same time.
do it for sure.
Yeah. Right next door.
Music lesson, walk right on down the
Yeah,
street.
that's what my kids do.